He's a British guy and he's a filmmaker and he's explored the world and he's very interesting. No, he's not gay, he's just British. No. So now can I have a go? This is it. Coming to you from the great United States of America. I'm on my way to the Overland Adventure. What's it actually called? Overland Expo? Overland Expo? I'm getting confused. There have been so many expos that I've been to in the last 12 months. I'm getting confused. Welcome to 4-Wheel Drive. This episode is dedicated to 4x4 and outdoor adventure expos. As I approach what is supposedly the biggest of them all, I reflect on the past year and the shows I've attended. In September, the Getaway Show in Johannesburg. In October, the 4x4 Adventure Show in Stratford upon Avon. In November, the Adventure Travel Show in London. And now in Arizona. These shows are as different as the cultures and countries that host them. Those of you who know me well know I like a Coke, particularly a half litre, nice ice cold on a trip. This one isn't half litre, it's bigger, it's fatter. I haven't actually managed to, I'm not sure how many millilitres, but anyway, it's bigger. The packets of chips are bigger, and that's the little packet. They're bigger. Everything's bigger. The cars are wider and longer and bigger. This vehicle, by the way, is a Hyundai Santa Fe, the 2014 model, and I've always disliked the Santa Fe, not because of any other reason, is that I just think it is so ugly. This one is actually quite nice looking. It's a bit ordinary looking. It kind of looks like the Mazdas and the Hondas, so it doesn't stand apart in any way at all. But I'm going to give it a bit of a test, and I thought, well, what a great idea in the wildlands and the badlands of Arizona, and give the Santa Fe a test and go and find some lonely tracks in Arizona. I have really no idea what I'm going to find. I haven't done a lot of research. I'm going to get a map. I do not have a GPS, don't want one. I was offered one, I don't want one. I want to navigate the old way, a map, and mark one eyeball. And really quite excited about being here. And as I leave the town of Phoenix behind, seeing the characteristic desert landscapes and cacti of Arizona.
By the outdoor area, we're going to pass the African stand.
The Getaway Show is South Africa's premier travel expo, and it's held annually not far from Johannesburg. While it's essentially a travel show, sponsored by a travel magazine, it is probable that about 40% of the exhibits are 4x4 related. South African shows are mostly very glitzy, with lots of colour banners and lots of branding. South Africa is also known for producing some of the best and most innovative 4x4 camping solutions in the world.
Obviously we're faced with a space restriction with regards to double cab, and the problem with double cab is tend to have that 4 people want to try and sleep in the back. So we not only do we have the fact that we've got a smaller space, but we've got more people trying to use it. And on top of that, we need to still lug the luggage along. So what we've designed or come up with or devised is that we extend the back part of it by 500 off the back of the vehicle. So you've got the quick ease of sleeping inside, quickly folding open. because people have come to me and said, oh, we've seen your single cab upstairs that's got showers and all sorts of things, and I'm saying 4 people, small space, this is what we can do for you. You want me to show you how it works quickly?
Yes.
Okay. And that closes in here. The nice thing about this is you can still have an 80-litre fridge out the back, which most people are looking for because they've got obviously extra people, more food required, nice and easily accessible. So you've got your fridge freezer combo out the back here, so you've got that easily accessible. Then from a bed inside perspective, 2 people up here. Okay, 2 people have to sleep up here. That's your adults bedding. Okay, and they would sleep this way around. And then obviously down below we have what we would consider the space for the kids. Okay, we've got a couple of tricks here to allow you to access some of the lower storage areas. There's a bit of storage in here. And also when you're traveling, you can actually put bags onto the bed. And when you stop and lift the roof up, those bags can store up here. So you can maneuver things in order to kind of create as much user-friendly space as possible. We use a bit of an elastic just to help pull the tent in when we close, and then literally pull. And as you're just about closed, you just tuck any excess tent in around the side. Remember that you can leave all your bedding inside. Close your cupboards off. Just put the lighting out. So we're basically there. Let's go. So there's your 4-man sleeper all ready to roll.
This little beauty is my very own Toyota Land Cruiser 78. It was converted in a joint project with Alu Cab. And I'm pleased to say voted by quite a few visitors as best car on show. Isn't it odd though that the country with arguably the best weather holds its shows indoors? In England they do things rather differently, and outdoors as well.
Right, day 2 of my expedition to the Stratford upon Avon Adventure Overland show in England. It's been a tough night. The people at the show partied all night. Actually, it wasn't bad at all. I think they went to bed at about. I went to bed about 11. I think they carried on till about 1. It wasn't actually very noisy. The show's interesting in that the people come and attend the show, camp at the show. It becomes a little camping trip for virtually all of the people with their stands. They don't come and go home in the evening and then come back, and then, it's a camping trip. They loaned me for the night a South African registered, I don't know why, maybe they just thought they would help me out in case I was feeling homesick. I'm not feeling homesick actually, but a South African registered Toyota Land Cruiser. It's got 395,000 on the clock. It's just driven from the Karoo up to the UK, and they're selling it for, I think, about £15,000, which I think is far too much. But anyway, it is for sale. But then again, I actually don't really know the local market terribly well. I'm just learning it. It just feels a bit too much for me.
Not your usual show, but it's worked out very well.
And you
for
say
us.
not your usual show. That's a good thing or bad thing?
It's good, because most of the shows in the UK, you either have the majority of the Land Rover shows, and then you have the ones that you go along to buy your little LED lights and your pretty toys. Whereas here, the overlanding is a completely different market, and the people, they know what they want. They come in, and you have sensible conversations. They don't come in and ask silly questions. It's more interesting, more fun.
And good quality.
Yes, much more quality.
There's a piquancy in this particular tent, and it smells as if a hyena has ripped open the cool box and bitten into a couple of 6-packs of beer. Also proof that the sun does shine in England. We've had actually a very, very nice day, and I've been helped on the show by the chaps at Overland Cruises. This is their stand behind me, and they've actually been helping me sell a few books and a few DVDs, which actually has been very, very successful. Now, while there are not a lot of exhibits at the show, there's some really high quality ones, and for me this particular one was the most interesting. I'm looking for places to go to travel to. And how about this? The High Himalaya, China, Far Eastern expeditions, and some memories for me. These Land Rovers, series Land Rovers, have an interesting and rather crude looking, for this age, camping modification. And these, if I am correct, were called carawagons.
Right, that's confirmed my theory. The South African chap has come along, brought some boerewors, and they've started a braai. They do think I'm homesick. Or, no, maybe he's homesick.
I'm in London at the Adventure Travel Expo being held here. It's a yearly event, and I'm here to see what the London Expos have on offer. And the first place I stopped was right behind me. How about Cambodia?
Or Iraq, or Pakistan, or the Himalaya.
And one of the people I did meet at the show is Chris Scott. Chris is an intrepid travel writer and explorer. And Chris has very kindly given me his latest 4x4 guidebook. Nice and thick, perfect for, in his words, to use as a stepping stone for a high lift jack. It was the first time during the entire day that I've actually been able to breathe normally. It's so full, it's so crowded. In fact, when we arrived here, we spent an hour waiting for people to leave because the building had reached capacity, apparently. So it is absolutely packed. And in fact, a lot of the areas is like walking around rush hour in a tube station. But the exhibits, they're all very similar, so you actually have to look closely. Nothing jumps out at you, but lots and lots of interesting destinations, as I said before, and of course some familiar ones, like the one behind me, Botswana, Drive Botswana, and of course the other one behind me there, which is Botswana Tourism. So it's nice to see some familiar products.
And of course, after the show, there's London town.
Welcome to the biggest, baddest 4x4 Overland Expo in the whole world. Well, that's what they claim, and you know something? They have a right to it, because you see, the Americans do things a little bit differently.
Hi guys.
This is absolute proof that overlanding means completely different things to different people. I don't think for 1 minute this is all about Jeeps or these enormous RVs. What I've seen, I've been here for just 1 hour, is every imaginable vehicle and piece of equipment associated with overland travel. They also have a dedicated place for motorcycles. I wonder what the ratio is of people that do serious overland travel, ratio between bike riders and four-wheeled vehicles. I wonder what that ratio is. Unlike the expos in South Africa and England to an extent, this is an event. It's not a show. A show is something where you go on a Saturday or or Sunday. It's a nice thing to do on the weekend. You take the family, and as a result there are a great deal of tire kickers. What I mean by tire kickers, people that are not really interested in buying anything or researching anything. They're there for the day's outing, and all they really spend their money on is at the hot dog or hamburger stand and maybe the beer hall. This, however, to drive this far, to come to this event, this most definitely attracts the serious overlander and 4x4 enthusiast.
So we've got cable in, bump it in, cable out, bump it out, stop.
People come from all over the world. I've been looking at registration numbers this morning, very few from Arizona. But that over there, that group over there in that Land Rover Defender, they're a little bit different. They've taken a long route to get here, all the way from the United Kingdom, and it's taken them 5 years.
Okay, hi, I'm Jane. My husband is David, and this Land Rover is called Lycibus. On the 16th of August 2009, we decided in our wisdom to buy a Land Rover and drive it around the world. So that's exactly what we did. We put a new chassis on it, a long-range fuel tank we bought off eBay. Somebody told us we might need a water pump and stuff like that, and anyway we threw a few plastic boxes in and off we went. So we went from England, obviously. We went, first real taste of Africa was Morocco. We went down to South Africa, we came back up through Iran, Syria, Pakistan. We shipped to Penang in Malaysia, then we went up to Cambodia, Vietnam, Laos, and then we shipped from Singapore to Australia. We drove around Australia to Melbourne, and then we shipped to Buenos Aires. Then we drove all the way down to Ushuaia, back up through Central America, all the different, through the Darien Gap, that was quite hard. And then we're meandering around really America. We're here in Flagstaff for the Overland Expo, and we're on the way to Alaska. And this is the other half.
I'm the other half. Hi, how you doing?
Good to meet you. I do a TV show about four-wheel driving, and glad I bumped into you.
In South Africa?
Yeah.
I've seen it. Did you do a troop carrier where you converted it to the best overland vehicle in the world with the pop top and the slide-out drawers and everything else? I remember watching and thought, cool, that's really good. I did like that.
That's the car I own now.
Yeah, I saw it and I remember it. Yes!
Your best travel tip, okay, that you've taken, and this sounds crazy, but this is it, and its name's Sid, a plastic mamba that was given to us in Marrakesh. The black Africans were terrified. The military, the police have even stepped away from the vehicle, and in Zambia and places like that, when you've got the monkeys, we tie it to the roof and it keeps them off.
So the Overland Expo is fantastic. I mean, there's always new things to see and new things to learn. But of all of these things, the thing that impressed me the most, and that is the incomparable, nobody does it better, American hospitality.
Yesterday while walking around, I came across these guys here, Mojo Griddle. I was looking for something to eat, couldn't find anything decent. And they were cooking something that looked fantastic on their steel griddle. And they invited me back today for lunch.
Their product is the Mojo Griddle. It's a cooking top suitable for a campfire or, in fact, wherever there is a heat source.
Before you cook and after you cook, a little bit of salt, a little bit of oil, rub it around with a paper towel or a rag, cleans up and tempers it really well, and after a while it just becomes Teflon.
That is beautiful cooking surface now. And so I'm going to put a bunch of onions on, griddle, oh, that smells good, huh? Got the mushrooms in. Now I'm going to throw in a little garlic. Kind of like a mushroom swimming pool.
Perfect. Tell me if you liked it, all right? Mom wants one.
Here you go.
Kind of inefficient, you know.
Yeah.
When you have to pass it between.
I thought that was mine. It's been given to somebody else.
And then
Like queuing.
there's a little story.
They're like queuing for food here. There's nothing good here. This is the only place to get food, and they're not allowed to sell it because they're not vendors. They're not, you know, they're just demonstrating a product.
All right. Okay, we're going to try it one more time.
But
I'm going to take control.
Yeah, I'm going to get a fork before somebody nicks one.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. Now, this better be good, eh? I came right across the Atlantic Ocean
All
for this,
the way.
and it was hell out there. I had to eat US Airlines food. I'll never forget that in a hurry.
Yeah. Hey, if you got scurvy, there's a few limes over there. You know, because that's what the British are known for. Being limeys.
Fantastic. Thank you, guys.
All right.
My new friend from San Diego.
Yes.
Yeah.
Me first.
And cut. Nothing candid about it. Good.
Yes, it is. It's quite delicious.
As it turns out, that was not the main event.
This is pork butt that we boiled for about 3 hours, and it's real tender. Really hot.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
It's Mexican sour cream. They call it crema.
We've got a new BFF here. He's a British guy, and he's a filmmaker, and he's explored the world, and he's very interesting. No, he's not gay. He's just British. No. No, he's our BFF now, man. You know what BFF is, best friends forever. Yeah. No, he's gonna come to Coronado. We're gonna do the Stork Chronicles together. Oh yeah, I gotta present it to you.
Welded rods.
This one is going to Andrew.
That snaps right on the rim of
It's the best one we've had. Oh,
okay. And it lifts
little
it
hair
up
in
so
there.
the air and heat go out.
All right.
It also allows.
That's for Andrew.
Okay,
All right. Okay.
Fat turkey farm.
So what's this?
Yeah, we're doing
Is it really hot, this?
It is. It's very spicy. Made with habaneros.
And this one not too hot?
A little mellower. It's got a little bit of smoky flavor in it, but it's not as piquant.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you got to put a little lime, a little bit of crema on there. And crema is the that stuff right. Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Yeah, we'll make a Mexican out of you. Yeah. Nice. So have a bite and see how that is. Yeah? Oh, good. Cam.
Yeah?
He likes it.
I like it.
He likes it.
Really cool stuff.
Here, could you open my beer?
Yeah.
Absolutely. See? That's why we're the greatest nation on earth. We know how to do that kind of stuff.
You might have just lost your beer.
It's time now to get behind the wheel of something equally American as friendship and cold beer. Therefore, I've chosen a Japanese pickup. This is the Toyota Tundra. Not particularly large by US standards, but definitely large by my standards.
You know, climbing into this thing, you know, it reminds me of, yes, 2008. I sailed on board the Queen Mary. Why is that the first thing that's come to my mind?
It's also a question I've always wanted to ask. Why do Americans like big pickups? Well, big anything, really.
I think it's because a lot of things in America are big, and so they don't necessarily seem big to us. Also, Americans own a lot of stuff, and so that's what you need to take your stuff around. And Americans like to have power, and so if you put a big engine in a vehicle, then it's got to be a big vehicle.
Obviously, Americans like the V8 throb. I do too, actually. But this, it's a 5.7 litre V8 Toyota engine. I've driven the 4.5, which is unbelievably smooth. And this is, well, a bit like the Queen Mary. About as quiet, and the fuel consumption is similar. Okay, slow down, whoa. I'm just not used to this much power, but if it's controllable, then, well, it should be fantastic. I just can't get over the vehicle size. I'm just not used to the size of the vehicle. I mean, in fact, the width between the seats is, you could virtually have a third seat in here.
One thing, of course, we do all have in common is that we like gadgets. Look at this one for size.
So the problem with the vehicle sometimes is it's really hot or it's really cold, and you want to adjust the temperature in the vehicle before you get in it. So with this app, I can start it up, and then I can actually start the vehicle, and I can start it from anywhere I have cell phone coverage. It's not an issue of proximity, so I could be in Washington, D.C. and start my car in Texas. I don't know why I'd want to do that, but you could. So anywhere there's a cell phone connection. So when the airplane lands, I take out my iPhone, I start up the Viper application, I hit the password, and then I hit the start button, and then the car's warm by the time I get there.
I've learned something amazing about the United States, particularly the West. This area here, we've driven for 40 minutes or so, and we've come across this lake and forest. I can camp here. And apparently there are thousands of places like it, federal land, and all you need to do is get the right map and see where you can camp and where you can't camp. But there are so many places where you can just camp. I had no idea that this kind of wild camping was possible in the United States. I'm absolutely astonished. And I gotta come back. I gotta come and do some wild camping here. This is just beautiful. This is typical of the backcountry roads. We're surrounded here by ponderosa pine, about 20-25 miles south of Flagstaff in Arizona. Lots and lots, in fact hundreds and hundreds of miles of tracks that wind in and out of the natural forests. This one is very obviously, camping is obviously allowed, because here behind me somebody's campfire, and obviously a designated place to make a fire. I noticed when coming in to the forest that there were signposts everywhere saying no fires, no fires, no charcoal, no fires, because at the moment it's a dry season, so the fire risk is fairly high. Peaceful and lovely. The Santa Fe would be classed as a crossover SUV. Crossover, what does it really mean? Well, I guess it's the first stage from stepping away from saloon car to off-road car, or a vehicle that is, perfectly capable and perfectly suited to everyday town driving, and will occasionally have to cope with a road like this. When choosing a crossover vehicle, if you want any off-road ability at all, and when I say off-road, I'm not really talking about off-road, I'm actually talking about off the tarmac road. If you want any capability at all, you go for one with an automatic gearbox, because otherwise you will find the others, you may find them very frustrating. At the moment things get even slightly challenging on an off tarmac track. Right, the Santa Fe. Do I like it? No, actually I don't like it. What don't I like about it? Well, let's start with what I do like about it. Try and think of something that I might have enjoyed about the vehicle. No, sorry, I can't think of anything I really enjoyed about. There are many things that are adequate about the vehicle, but nothing that I can think of that actually has made me smile. Nothing at all has made me smile. A few things have done the absolute opposite. Interior is okay, it's fairly functional, fairly uninteresting. Seats good. Seats are good. It's one thing. Cruise control doesn't work properly. I mean, it's very uncomfortable to use, because the moment one engages cruise control and you get a little bit of a hill, it starts searching for gears. Sometimes it'll clock down 2 gears and sit at 60 miles an hour at 4,000 plus RPM, and where actually if the cruise control had not been engaged, it'd be sitting happily at 2,200 RPM. So it's not well tuned. The vehicle is underpowered. For a V6, this is an underpowered vehicle. It will not stay in top gear up a modest hill at 65, 70 miles an hour. Won't do it. And then when you change down, not a lot happens. Bit frustrating. Takes a long time to accelerate to a higher speed from 60 to 70. Takes a long time, even if there's a slight hill. Interior noise levels with the engine anything above 3,000 RPM, very high, but cruising at 60, fine. actually reasonably good. The suspension is, well, you feel and hear every undulation in the road. So I think the ride is poor, but there's something about the vehicle that has compelled me to introduce PAF.
That's the personal annoyance factor. It is the measurement of the level of annoyance created by a feature built into a piece of equipment.
PAF of a Hyundai Santa Fe. Starts immediately.
Measured between 1 and 6, the Santa Fe scores a resounding 6.
What's it doing? What have I done wrong? Now it's telling me to align the steering wheel. If I aligned the steering wheel and went straight, I would drive into a tree. Now when I get out of the car...
Okay, now that's its way of saying goodbye to me, but it won't let me go because obviously the key's still in, so is it going to say goodbye to me again? No.
Driven me insane the last 4 days. Just try to ignore it, and I am ignoring it now. It's not bugging me that much, but it's just so over the top. Let's put it this way: it's beyond safety, and it's become just plain ridiculous.
My short trip to the US is coming to an end. I've met some amazing people and made some really good friends. But the US also managed to dish up something that I didn't really expect.
This is Flagstaff. Third night here. The first night was in a pretty crummy motel called Motel 6. And I thought, well, it's really crummy. I'll stay here 2 nights, and then Saturday night I'll find something a bit better for Saturday and Sunday. Big mistake. Just spent the last hour driving around Flagstaff. There must be 30 hotels here. I probably stopped at about 10, 12. Eventually found this one. Talking about sleazy motels. I mean, this is really, really crummy. Crummy. Oh, it's just the pits. Do you want a closer look? You sure? Okay. I dread this part. No, it actually smells clean. But I went to so many hotels. I'm convinced this is the very, very last room in the town. It cost almost double what the previous horrible hotel cost. But the alternative was to go back to the Overland Expo, park in amongst all of the RVs, and curl up in the boot of the Hyundai. So actually, I'm quite grateful.
So I won't have to use these after all. I assume that they're hooks for tying on a noose.
Of course, now the alternative is to watch some telly. What's on telly? Oh dear.
When you catch the ball, it's like volleyball down there. That's sticking it through the eye of the needle. Oh my God.
What do you think? Huh? Think so? Yeah. Thanks very much, but no, thank you.